Peace. Two fingers. What's up? So, this is the fifth time I try to do this video. This time I'm not going to stop till I'm done. Alright? I'm not going to stop until I'm finished. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics. So, I'm checking out a podcast called The Real Dana. And it's a black woman, and so far she got a good podcast. She's coming up fast. I don't know how the hell people get like 15, 20,000 subscribers and they only been on like a month. I don't know how the fuck they do that shit, but I digress. She has Judge Joe Brown on her show a lot, right? And I like Judge Joe Brown from back in the day when he used to be on TV. And, I had that show. I used to like watching it before I went to work because I work nights a lot. He'd come on about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I watch it just before I go to work, like Judge Joe Brown. And so Judge Joe Brown is on there talking about Kamala Harris. And he said she fucked her way to the top. Now, Judge Joe Brown would know because Judge Joe Brown is old enough to know all of this stuff, and he was out in that part of the country at the time. So, and Judge Joe Brown is almost 75 years old. Judge Joe Brown ain't got too many more fucks to give, so I tend to add, I tend to have a lot of belief in the stuff that he says. And it makes sense. Because I already knew Kamala Harris had some kind of relationship with the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, I think his name was. And Kamala Harris was, a state district attorney and all that shit out there in San Francisco at the time. So, and I also know she a really disingenuous, evil-ass woman. I mean, if you check out some of her old speeches and stuff, when she was laughing about putting people in jail if their kids were delinquent from school or some shit, she was talking about how it cut down on truancy and all of that shit, and she was laughing like some old maniacal witch when she was talking that shit. That speaks to how what kind of character she has. So it ain't that much of a stretch for her to give up some pussy to get, a position or a job that she wants. So anyway, Judge Joe Brown was telling people about that. Apparently the video clip went viral. And Steve Harvey, monkey-ass Steve Harvey, got a hold of it. And he is on his radio show telling people that we should not be, denigrating our powerful black female leaders like that. In other words, he says she got a friend in Uncle Steve. And but if you know anything about Steve Harvey, you know what a sellout he is. He's a straight sellout from way back. He's selling out to the motherfucking white politicians because he went up there and kissed Donald Trump's ring, and now and then he sell out to Miss Hillary because he went and threw a whole bunch of support behind her and was telling people to vote for her evil ass, and now he all up under Kamala Harris's titties, telling everybody what a great lady she is and how we should all be supporting her because she's black and all of that. Well, we all know Kamala Harris ain't black like you and me. And we all know that Kamala Harris is the lady who said that I'm not going to do anything for black people. That's only going to benefit black people. No, that was her quote. But the problem now is Kamala Harris is one heartbeat away from the presidency. And she vice president to a motherfucker who ain't got that many heartbeats left. We all know Joe Biden is basically a fucking zombie. And so if anything happened to that motherfucker within the next 3 years, we got a president who already said she ain't doing shit for black people. After they done passed all of this Asian hate crime bill and this LGBT shit, and white people always know they hooked up. So we just kind of being relegated, like I said earlier, to fourth class citizenship. And then we'll have a president in the White House who already said that that's where we need to be. And Steve Harvey's throwing his support behind that. And we got a bunch of black people running around the country talking about what a great lady, how great it is to have this so-called black vice president. Black is a state of mind, people. It's a skin color, but it's also a fucking state of mind. And Kamala Harris' state of mind is not that of a ADOS person. Not that of an ADOS black person. It's not. It never has been and it never will be. She's looking to feather her own nest and get as much for her people as she can. Because you know she was supportive of that Asian hate bill. But something that's only going to benefit black people, ain't no way that could happen. And you got motherfuckers like Steve Harvey, who everybody loves so much, supporting and telling you, to throw support behind that. Anybody that's rolling with that kind of thinking is clearly goddamn out of the loop and clearly fucking delusional and don't understand really what side the bread is buttered on. And if you black in America, you ain't got no bread and you ain't got no motherfucking butter. And the only way for us to get that is to turn inward and build wealth in the only way possible that we can. And that's through accumulation of assets. Not accumulation of liabilities like cars and sneakers. Accumulation of assets like real estate. And gold and silver, of course, but mostly real estate. Not even stocks and bonds and Bitcoin. Real estate. That's what I think anyway. I'm just a layman, but that's what I think anyway. Take your motherfucking stimulus money or whatever unexpected windfall you got and put that shit somewhere where you can make a down payment on some property. You know what I mean? They got all kinds of ways to finance property. You got to get your hands on something tangible, like a house. I don't give a fuck if it's a fixer-upper. You got to get your hands on it. You can buy a $100,000 house with, less than $5,000 down if you get with the right program. You can buy a $50,000 house. Hell, you can get a $20,000 or $30,000 house and make that motherfucker into what you need it to be. But you got to get your hands on something real, and you got to start building wealth now, because that's the only thing that white people respect. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that white people respect. We got all of these. We got a lot of people on social media, YouTube here and there, telling us that they really have our best interests at heart. They don't. They got their own best interests at heart. I mean, every time I hear about somebody coming out the woodwork talking about leading black people to a better way, or building up a strong black following because they got the right ideas. Every time I hear about one of them motherfuckers falling, I sink a little bit. And it really, really fucking disappoints me. And I always talk about, I hate when they beefing with each other and arguing with each other over dumb shit, because this one wants to have a conference, so he gonna undermine this one's conference. This guy has a movement, so he gonna co-opt the movement of somebody else. None of it makes sense to me. What you got to do is you got to take the information that they're putting out there, and you got to sift that shit, right? And then you got to get from it the good parts that you can use, and you got to move forward with that. And all of the money that you send to them to buy their t-shirts and their goddamn programs and their goddamn courses, take that money and save that shit for the down payment on your property, on your house. Because individually, we nothing, but as a group, once they find out that we own more than, the Hispanics do, or we own more than The Asians do. Then we ain't gotta kiss anybody's ass to get them to do our bidding. We buy our own politicians. Something like that is gonna have to happen. Something like that is gonna have to happen because Kamala ain't gonna do it. Our rich people, they ain't gonna do it. To me, the only time that they make any donations to grassroots movements is when it can benefit them, and then they don't want nobody to know about it because they don't want to piss off the white people. If I ever fucking get rich, if I ever get rich, first, why would I even give a shit about what white people think of me? I'm rich, right? I'm rich. I can be as pro-black as I want to, and I don't have to give a fuck who knows about it. But if I ever get rich, that's the route I'm taking. And when I say rich, I mean really rich. Not Jeff Bezos rich, but shit, Michael Jordan or Denzel Washington rich anyway. If I ever get to that point, that's what I'm gonna be pushing. And it's got to be strictly pro-black. Hell, I'm already pro-black. But if you get to a position where you can really influence and you can really move the needle a little bit, that's what you need to be doing, because it'll come back to you, man, in spades. It really will. You give away $1, you get $10 back. But I kind of went off topic a little bit, but what I do want to stay on the subject of nasty ass individuals like Steve Harvey, who's steering people who keeping y'all pinned up like sheep, and fake ass, hypocritical ass, disingenuous politicians like Kamala Harris. Stay the fuck away from them. And don't vote for them people unless you're getting something tangible for that fucking vote. If people don't know that by now, then we truly are a lost goddamn people. If you don't know that voting is a quid pro quo, after all that's happened with Donald Trump, and after all of that fake bullshit that Kamala Harris was putting out there, if you don't know that by now, then you part of that 70% that just ain't gonna make it. Don't be that. Don't be that. Get your head out your ass. Stop listening to these pork chop preachers, these fake ass YouTube leaders who selling you this and selling you that, and these bullshit politicians. Don't be listening to them because they ain't gonna do nothing but rob you and take all the money you got. Take the little bit of money you got, put that shit away, save up till you got about $2,000, maybe $3,000, maybe $5,000, and buy yourself a piece of property. A small piece of property though it may be, it's still a piece of property, it's still something tangible that you can build wealth on and build equity in. That's it for now, y'all. And I'm out.